Listen, most people wait for the perfect time to change their life. They wait for the right job, the right relationship, the right opportunity. But here's the truth. There is no perfect time. There's only now. 30 days from today, you could be living a completely different life if you decide. The problem isn't that you can't change. The problem is you've told yourself the same story for too long. I'm not ready. I'm too tired. It's too late. But what if I told you in just 30 days you can reprogram your habits, your mindset, and your direction completely? This isn't magic. It's discipline. It's awareness. It's small daily actions that build unstoppable momentum. So today, I'm not asking you to dream. I'm asking you to decide. Decide that today is the line in the sand, the moment your old self ends and your new self begins. Because in 30 days, the version of you who stayed consistent will meet the version of you who used to only wish. And that meeting changes everything. So let's talk about how to change your life in 30 days. 7 key shifts that will reset your mind, body, and direction one day at a time. Day 1 starts with a decision, not a half-hearted wish, not a maybe tomorrow, not a someday when I feel ready. It begins with a firm, unshakable decision that says, enough is enough. Every breakthrough you've ever seen, every success story you've admired, every transformation that inspired you, it all began with one person deciding they would no longer live on autopilot. You cannot change what you continue to tolerate. You cannot grow while clinging to comfort. The moment you decide, truly decide, everything shifts. The world doesn't suddenly rearrange itself to make it easy. But your perspective changes, your focus sharpens, and your energy aligns with your goal. This is where most people get it wrong. They wait for motivation to arrive before they start. They wait for the spark. But motivation isn't what starts the fire. It's what the fire creates once you start. The first step will always feel uncertain. Your mind will resist, whispering doubts like, you've failed before. What's the point? It's too late. But that's the exact moment you must step forward anyway. Change doesn't happen in the absence of fear. It happens when you move despite it. You can't think your way into a new life. You must act your way into one. So what does a real decision look like? It's when your want becomes a must. It's when you no longer negotiate with excuses. It's deleting the I'll try mindset and replacing it with I will. A true decision is backed by action, immediate, decisive, undeniable action. When you decide to change, you do something that your old self would never do. You make the call, you throw away the junk food, you wake up early, you start writing, you sign up for the class, you say no to the distraction, you make a visible physical declaration that the old you is no longer in control. Every person alive has 2 voices within them, the voice of comfort and the voice of change. The comfort voice is seductive. It tells you to rest a little longer, to play it safe, to avoid the risk of disappointment. But the change voice is quiet, subtle, and powerful. It doesn't scream, it simply says, you're meant for more. And on day 1, you must decide which voice wins, because whichever one you feed grows. The comfort voice will keep you stuck in loops of someday, but the change voice leads you to growth, to movement, to a higher version of yourself. You can't overthink your way into transformation. The longer you wait for the perfect moment, the more you train your mind to doubt your ability. Action must come first. Even a small action creates momentum, and momentum is what breaks resistance. Once you take the first step, clarity follows. The path doesn't reveal itself before you begin. It unfolds as you begin. So don't wait to feel ready. Readiness is a myth. If you move with purpose, readiness will catch up to you. Look around you. Everything you see, from inventions to empires to personal triumphs, started as a single decision in someone's mind. It's not about how smart they were, how wealthy they were, or how lucky they were. It's about how committed they were to their decision. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers think about the result, doers commit to the process. The difference is not in ability, it's in the decision to start. Day 1 is not glamorous, it's uncomfortable. You'll question yourself, you'll feel uncertain, and that's okay. That's proof that you're stepping into something new. Growth always begins where comfort ends. You might not see results yet, but every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you act instead of overthinking, you're rewiring your identity, you're proving to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through. The most powerful words you can ever say to yourself are, I decide. Say it with conviction. Say it like your future depends on it, because it does. That moment is the spark that lights the next 30 days. That decision becomes your foundation, and every action that follows reinforces your new standard. You don't need to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step with absolute certainty that you're done being who you were. The life you want is not waiting for someone more talented, more lucky, or more deserving. It's waiting for someone more decisive. And that someone is you right now, in this moment. Day one begins when you decide. Your mornings are the foundation of your life. They are the first domino that determines the direction of your entire day, and the quality of your days determines the quality of your life. If you want to change your life in 30 days, the first thing you must do is take ownership of your mornings. Every great transformation starts with structure. Every disciplined person you admire has one thing in common. They protect their mornings like their life depends on it, because it does. The first hour of your day decides who's in control, you or the world. If you start your morning reacting to notifications, messages, distractions, you've already handed your power away. But if you start it with intention, you set the tone for victory before the world even wakes up. The moment you open your eyes, you're faced with a choice. Will you pick up your phone and scroll through the chaos of other people's lives, or will you sit in silence and tune into your own? The first few minutes after waking are sacred. That's when your subconscious mind is most open to influence. If you feed it with gratitude, affirmations, and clarity, it will guide you toward growth. But if you feed it stress, comparison, and noise, it will guide you toward confusion and self-doubt. Your morning is not just a routine, it's a ritual that programs your mind for success or struggle. When you wake up early, before the noise of the world, you give yourself something priceless: control. You start living by design, not by default. The quiet of the morning is when your focus is sharpest, your creativity strongest, and your energy purest. Use that time wisely. Move your body to awaken your strength. Read something that uplifts your spirit. Write down your intentions for the day so your mind has direction. Speak your goals aloud, not as distant dreams, but as promises you intend to keep. When you speak your intentions into existence, you declare to yourself that today will not be wasted. Many people underestimate the power of small consistency. They think transformation must be massive, visible, dramatic. But in truth, change is built on quiet mornings that no one sees. It's built when you wake up and make your bed instead of hitting snooze. When you choose water over caffeine, gratitude over complaining, focus over distraction, those choices compound, and in 30 days, they create a version of you that looks unstoppable. Discipline grows stronger every time you honor your mornings. If you want to know where your life is headed, look at how you begin your day. Chaotic mornings create chaotic lives. Peaceful mornings create powerful minds. Don't underestimate that connection. The state you wake up in becomes the vibration you carry through the day. If your first action is reactive, grabbing your phone, rushing, stressing, you send a signal to your nervous system that life is out of control. But if your first action is mindful, breathing, stretching, reflecting, you tell your mind that you are in control. That shift changes everything about how you handle challenges, conversations, and opportunities throughout the day. Start by designing a simple, realistic morning routine. You don't need to copy anyone else's version of success. You just need one that aligns with your goals. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier to move your body. Maybe it's journaling 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe it's sitting quietly with your thoughts before you step into the rush. The key is consistency. What you do every morning becomes who you are. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be practiced. When you reprogram your mornings, you reprogram your life. You teach your mind that progress is more important than comfort. You build momentum that carries you forward even when motivation fades. Because discipline born in the morning doesn't disappear when challenges arise, it strengthens you to face them. The person who owns their morning owns their day, and the person who owns their day owns their future. Your morning is your mirror. It reflects how much you value your potential. If you treat it with respect, it rewards you with clarity, confidence, and energy. But if you treat it carelessly, it steals your focus before the day even starts. You can't control every part of life, but you can control how you greet it each morning. That single decision, repeated daily, can transform your entire identity. So wake up tomorrow not just to exist, but to build. Don't let the world set your tone, set it yourself. Reprogram your morning and you'll reprogram your destiny. Real change isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing one thing with relentless consistency until it becomes a part of who you are. The biggest reason most people fail to transform their lives is that they try to overhaul everything overnight. They wake up on day one filled with motivation and write down 10 new habits: eat clean, wake up early, meditate, journal, exercise, read, drink water, avoid social media, learn a skill, sleep early. And by day 3, they're exhausted, frustrated, and back to square one. Change doesn't collapse your entire life at once. It builds piece by piece, layer by layer, habit by habit. True mastery begins when you decide to focus on one discipline and go deep instead of wide. Think of your habits as bricks. Each day you lay one, and slowly you build the foundation of your new life. If you rush, if you try to build everything at once, the structure crumbles. But when you give one habit your full attention, it grows roots. It becomes automatic, effortless, powerful. That's how discipline compounds. The power of small focus is that it trains your mind to follow through. You teach yourself that you can be trusted to do what you say you'll do. That trust is the foundation of confidence. Every time you complete your one chosen task for the day, you reinforce a powerful identity. I am consistent. I keep promises to myself. That's the real reward of discipline. It's not about the habit itself, but about who you become because of it. Choose one discipline that aligns with the person you want to become. Maybe it's committing to move your body for 30 minutes daily. Maybe it's reading 10 pages every morning. Maybe it's cutting out negative self-talk, or drinking more water, or writing your goals every night. Whatever it is, make it non-negotiable. Don't wait for the perfect mood. Don't wait for the right conditions. Just show up. Because every time you show up, you silence the part of your mind that loves to procrastinate. You're proving that consistency beats motivation every time. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline endures. The beauty of focusing on one discipline is that it naturally spills into other areas of your life. When you get disciplined in one thing, you begin to crave discipline in others. If you become consistent with your morning routine, you naturally start eating better. If you become consistent with your workouts, you naturally start managing your time better. Discipline breeds discipline. The energy you create from following through on one thing gives you the clarity and confidence to take on the next. The problem with trying to change everything at once is that it overwhelms your willpower. Willpower is a limited resource. It depletes quickly. But when you concentrate it on one target, it becomes unstoppable. Imagine sunlight. It's warm, gentle, scattered. But when you focus it through a magnifying glass, it burns through anything in its path. Your focus works the same way. The more narrow it becomes, the more powerful it gets. That's how you burn through resistance. In the beginning, you might not see immediate results. That's when most people quit. They think the small actions aren't working. But the truth is, growth happens beneath the surface. Every repetition builds unseen strength. Every day you practice your one discipline, you're rewiring your brain, reshaping your self-image, and rewriting your story. The first week, you'll fight resistance. The second week, you'll start to adapt. By the third week, it becomes easier. And by day 30, it's no longer something you do, it's something you are. Commitment is the bridge between desire and achievement. It's the promise you make to yourself when no one is watching. And that's what separates those who change their lives from those who only wish for change. One discipline, done daily, done with intention, will build the foundation for every other success you'll create. You don't need to chase motivation. You need to build momentum, and momentum begins with mastery over one thing. So for the next 30 days, forget about trying to be perfect. Forget about changing everything at once. Pick one discipline, one action that aligns with your highest self, and give it your full attention. Protect it, practice it, perfect it. Because when you prove to yourself that you can follow through on one promise, you'll start to believe you can do anything. One discipline at a time, that's how you build a new life. Your environment will always have more influence on your life than your willpower ever will. You can have the strongest intentions, the best goals, and the most detailed plans, but if you're surrounded by negativity, distractions, or people who pull you backward, you'll constantly feel like you're fighting against gravity. You can't rise higher when you're chained to low energy. That's why changing your life in 30 days requires more than changing your habits. It requires changing your circle. The people you allow into your space will either water your growth or poison it. Energy is contagious. Motivation spreads. So does doubt. The conversations you hear daily become the thoughts you think. The people around you act like mirrors, reflecting back your potential or your limitations. If you spend time with those who settle, you'll start to believe that settling is normal. But if you surround yourself with people who dream bigger, work harder, and expect more, your standards will rise without you even trying. Sometimes, the hardest part of growth isn't learning something new. It's letting go of what no longer serves you. You can't evolve while you're attached to environments that feed your old identity. If you're constantly around people who gossip, complain, or criticize ambition, you'll start hiding your light just to fit in. And that's dangerous. Never dim your energy to make others comfortable. You weren't meant to blend in. You were meant to grow beyond the limits others set for themselves. Your future demands a different atmosphere, one filled with accountability, positivity, and belief. Cleaning your circle doesn't always mean cutting everyone off. Sometimes it simply means creating distance. It means deciding how much access people have to your mind and emotions. Some people can stay in your life, but not in your daily conversations. Some can remain in your memories, but not in your plans. Learn to set boundaries without guilt. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's survival. When you guard your mental and emotional energy, you give yourself the space to focus, to build, and to breathe. Every successful person understands this truth. Environment shapes behavior. If you place a strong person in a weak environment for too long, eventually the environment wins. But the opposite is also true. If you immerse yourself in an environment of growth, challenge, and positivity, you can't help but rise. That's why mentorship matters. That's why community matters. When you spend time with people who think bigger, their mindset becomes your normal. You begin to expect more from yourself. You stop making excuses because no one around you tolerates them. You start believing because everyone around you already does. Audit your circle with honesty. Ask yourself, who inspires me to grow, who drains my energy, who believes in my potential, who reminds me of my past more than my future. This kind of self-reflection isn't easy because it forces you to see where you've been settling. But growth always begins with truth. Once you see clearly, make the brave choice to distance yourself from anything that doesn't align with your next level. It might feel lonely at first, but that loneliness is simply the space where your new circle will form. And remember, cleaning your circle isn't just about people, it's about your overall environment. What you listen to, what you watch, what you read, what you allow into your mind, it all shapes your beliefs. Replace noise with knowledge. Replace distractions with discipline. Fill your surroundings with things that remind you of who you want to become. Put quotes on your walls. Create playlists that uplift you. Read books that challenge you. Follow creators who educate and inspire. Turn your environment into a mirror that constantly reflects your potential back to you. The energy you allow is the energy you become. That's why your environment must match your goals. You can't build a strong mindset while surrounded by weak habits. You can't stay disciplined if everyone around you avoids discipline. You can't expect growth in an atmosphere that fears change. So build your own atmosphere, one that supports your evolution. When you clean your circle, you clear your path. You create space for new connections, better energy, and higher alignment. In the next 30 days, protect your peace with the same intensity that you protect your dreams. Choose people who make you feel capable, not comfortable. Seek out those who hold you accountable, not those who excuse your stagnation. When you raise your environment, you raise your vibration. And when your vibration rises, your results follow. The company you keep becomes the future you create. So choose wisely, protect fiercely, and never apologize for growing beyond what no longer fits your journey. Your words are powerful beyond measure. Every sentence you speak is an instruction to your subconscious mind, a command that shapes your reality. The words you say repeatedly about yourself, your abilities, your future, are programming your mind to either create progress or maintain limitation. Most people don't realize they are narrating their life in ways that sabotage them. They say things like, I can't, I'm not good enough, I never get lucky, or that's just the way I am. But every time you say those words, you're strengthening the very reality you want to escape. You can't build a powerful life with weak language. The moment you decide to change your vocabulary, you begin changing your destiny. Your subconscious mind doesn't filter sarcasm, humor, or exaggeration. It takes everything you say as truth. When you speak negatively, you plant seeds of limitation. When you speak with confidence, you plant seeds of growth. This is why self-talk matters more than most people realize. You can't speak failure and expect success. You can't speak doubt and expect belief. The words that leave your mouth echo back into your mind. If you want a different outcome, you have to start speaking a different reality. Replace I can't with I can learn. Replace I'm not ready with I'm becoming ready. Replace I don't know how with I'm figuring it out. These small linguistic shifts reshape your mindset one phrase at a time. Your language determines your emotional state. When you say, I'm overwhelmed, your body responds with stress. When you say, I'm in control, your body responds with calm. The chemistry of your emotions follows the language you use. That's why great leaders, athletes, and thinkers are intentional with their words. They know every word carries weight. Speak life into your dreams. Speak strength into your struggles. Speak faith into your fears. What you speak repeatedly becomes what you expect, and what you expect eventually becomes what you experience. The most powerful words you can say are the ones that begin with, I am, whatever follows. I am becomes your identity. Say, I am tired, and your mind looks for reasons to feel tired. Say, I am focused, and your mind searches for evidence of focus. Say, I am becoming stronger, and your actions begin aligning with that belief. The I am statements you repeat daily sculpt the image you hold of yourself. If you want to elevate your life, you must elevate the words that define who you are. Be conscious not just of the words you say out loud, but the ones you whisper internally. Your inner dialogue is the most consistent voice you'll ever hear. It can be your biggest critic or your greatest ally. Every time you catch yourself saying something disempowering, stop and reframe it. Turn I always fail into I'm still learning. Turn this is impossible into this is challenging, but I'm capable. Over time, those small corrections rebuild your self-belief. You're training your mind to look for solutions instead of problems. Speaking the life you want is not about pretending. It's about preconditioning your mind to see possibilities where it used to see limits. It's about giving your dreams a voice before the world validates them. When you say your goals out loud every morning, you remind your subconscious what to focus on. When you declare, I am confident, even if you don't feel it yet, your brain begins wiring itself to match that statement. That's the science behind affirmations. They aren't magic, they're mental training. You become what you repeatedly say because the mind must stay congruent with the identity it believes. Every day you're either speaking life or death into your future. You're either reinforcing fear or fueling faith. The words you choose can heal, motivate, and empower, or they can weaken, limit, and destroy. So, speak deliberately. Speak as if your voice has the power to rewrite your story, because it does. Speak with gratitude for what you have and excitement for what's coming. Speak with conviction that the best version of you is already on the way. In the next 30 days, monitor your words like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Speak only what you want to see. Turn your vocabulary into a reflection of your goals. When you catch yourself speaking lack, switch to abundance. When you feel fear rising, speak courage instead. The moment you change your language, you begin changing your emotions, your mindset, and your results. Your voice is the architect of your future, so build carefully, build consciously, and build with faith. Speak the life you want until it becomes the life you live. Reflection is the bridge between growth and wisdom. Most people live their days reacting to life, moving from one moment to the next without pausing to understand what those moments are teaching them. They repeat the same mistakes, attract the same patterns, and wonder why nothing changes, but real transformation happens when you stop reacting and start reflecting. Taking just a few minutes every day to look back, to ask yourself what went right, what went wrong, and what can be better, can completely reshape the way you live. Reflection is not about guilt, it's about guidance. It's how you turn every experience, good or bad, into a lesson that moves you forward. At the end of each day, when the noise settles and the world quiets down, that's your time to meet yourself. Sit in silence for a few moments. Take a deep breath and ask, did I show up today as the person I want to become? That one question can reveal more about your progress than any plan or checklist. Reflection gives you awareness, and awareness is the foundation of change. You can't improve what you don't notice. When you take the time to analyze your actions, your choices, and your emotions, you start seeing the invisible patterns that shape your life. You realize that the days you felt anxious were the days you skipped your routine. You notice that your energy dropped after certain conversations or habits. You begin to connect dots that were always there, but hidden beneath the rush of doing. People often confuse reflection with overthinking. They are not the same. Overthinking is judgment. Reflection is understanding. Overthinking traps you and worry about what already happened. Reflection frees you by turning that same experience into wisdom. When you reflect, you don't dwell, you learn. You observe your mistakes without labeling yourself a failure. You celebrate your wins without becoming complacent. You find balance between humility and pride, between acceptance and ambition. That's how you grow without losing yourself in the process. Reflection should be simple but intentional. You don't need an hour or a fancy journal. 5 quiet minutes is enough. Write down 3 questions. What did I do well today? What can I improve tomorrow? What am I grateful for right now? Answer them honestly. The goal is not to impress yourself, it's to understand yourself. The act of writing brings clarity because it forces your thoughts out of your head and onto paper where you can see them clearly. You might realize that something you thought was a failure was actually a lesson. You might discover that a tiny act of discipline made your whole day feel better. That's how awareness turns into alignment. Reflection also builds emotional intelligence. It helps you understand your triggers, your reactions, and your inner dialogue. When you reflect regularly, you stop blaming others for how you feel and start taking responsibility for your emotions. You begin to see how your thoughts shape your reality. You become less reactive, more centered, more grounded. Instead of being a victim of your circumstances, you become the observer of your experiences. And that shift changes everything. When you reflect daily, you start noticing progress that's invisible to the outside world. You recognize that even on the days you stumbled, you still moved forward because you learned something new. Reflection teaches you that growth isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. You can't control everything that happens, but you can always control how you respond, and reflection sharpens that response. It's what keeps your journey steady when motivation fades and challenges rise. Make reflection a ritual. Do it before bed, before you close your eyes. Replay your day not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, did I live with purpose? Did I use my time wisely? Did I speak kindly to myself and others? Did I act in alignment with my goals? This small practice rewires your brain to focus on growth instead of guilt. You stop carrying yesterday's mistakes into tomorrow's opportunities. You wake up lighter, clearer, and more prepared. In the next 30 days, commit to ending every day with reflection. No matter how busy or tired you are, take those few minutes. That's where transformation happens, not in the noise of achievement, but in the quiet of awareness. The world is constantly pushing you to go faster, but growth requires slowing down long enough to listen to yourself. Reflection is how you turn motion into meaning, effort into evolution, and experience into wisdom. It's how you stop reacting to life and start directing it. Visualization is the process of seeing your future before it arrives. It's not fantasy, it's mental conditioning. Every great achievement begins as an image in the mind long before it becomes visible to the world. The power of visualization lies in its ability to make your goals feel familiar, to make success feel possible, to make your dreams feel real. When you close your eyes and picture the life you want in vivid detail, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and experience. It begins to create pathways, emotional connections, and motivation that align your actions with that image. The mind moves toward what it consistently sees. If you keep feeding it images of doubt, failure, or fear, you'll unconsciously act in ways that support those outcomes. But if you feed it images of strength, success, and confidence, your behavior begins to align with those outcomes too. Every athlete, leader, and high performer uses visualization as a tool for mastery. They rehearse success in their minds before they live it in reality. They don't just see the goal, they feel it. They imagine the sounds, the sensations, the emotions. A runner visualizes crossing the finish line and feeling the adrenaline of victory. A speaker visualizes stepping on stage and feeling calm, confident, and connected. A business leader visualizes walking into meetings with clarity and influence. When you visualize with emotion, you train your subconscious to believe that success is already within reach. That belief changes how you move, how you speak, and how you handle obstacles. The reason visualization works is because your subconscious mind is goal-driven. It constantly works to align your outer world with your inner images. Whatever you repeatedly imagine, your mind will seek to create. This is why you must be intentional with what you visualize. If you keep replaying your fears or failures, you program yourself to repeat them. But if you visualize your growth, your discipline, your peace, and your success, you program yourself to attract and create them. Visualization isn't about escaping reality, it's about designing it. It's mental rehearsal for the life you are building. To practice visualization, you don't need hours of silence or complex rituals. Just a few minutes each morning or night can transform your mindset. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and breathe deeply. Picture the version of yourself who has already achieved what you desire. See how they move, how they speak, how they react to challenges. Notice the confidence in their posture, the calm in their voice, the gratitude in their heart. Feel what it's like to live that reality right now. The more clearly you see it, the faster you become it. Your brain begins wiring itself for that identity. You start making choices that align with the person you imagined. Visualization also creates emotional alignment. It helps you connect your goals with feelings of joy, gratitude, and fulfillment rather than pressure or fear. When you can emotionally feel success before it arrives, you eliminate the gap between where you are and where you want to be. You no longer chase your dreams from a place of lack. You attract them from a place of abundance. This emotional shift is what turns visualized goals into manifested results. One of the most powerful ways to visualize is to write your future in present tense. Instead of saying, I want to be confident, say, I am confident. Instead of saying, I hope to achieve this, say, I am grateful for achieving this. Writing or speaking your goals as if they're already done signals your subconscious to believe it's possible. Over time, your actions start reflecting that belief. This isn't delusion, it's design. You're training your mind to operate from faith, not fear. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when reality feels far from the vision. That's when visualization becomes your anchor. Close your eyes and return to that mental image. Remind yourself of how it feels to have already succeeded. Let that feeling fuel you through challenges. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. You'll start noticing opportunities that align with your vision. You'll attract people and situations that match your mindset. In the next 30 days, make visualization a daily discipline. Do it every morning before the world demands your attention and every night before sleep. The images you hold in your mind will eventually shape the life you live. See your future so clearly that it feels inevitable. Speak it, feel it, believe it, and act on it. Because when you visualize with clarity and emotion, your mind begins working day and night to turn that picture into your reality. What you see within will always manifest without. The vision you hold today becomes the life you live tomorrow. Change doesn't happen by accident, it happens by decision, discipline, and daily action. In just 30 days, you can begin transforming not only your habits, but the very identity you hold of yourself. Every morning you rise with purpose. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, every moment you choose reflection over reaction, you're building a new version of you. Change isn't loud, it's quiet consistency. It's waking up one day and realizing the person you've become feels stronger, calmer, and more focused than the one who started. These 30 days are not about perfection. They're about direction. There will be days you'll stumble, moments you'll feel tired, times when doubt will whisper that nothing is changing. But that's the very moment to push forward, because transformation doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens in the small victories you don't post online, the choices no one applauds, the persistence that no one sees. Each of those unseen moments is a brick in the foundation of your new life. When you decide to take control of your mornings, focus on one discipline, protect your circle, speak power into your life, reflect daily, and visualize your future, you're not just changing your habits, you're changing your story. You're teaching yourself that you are capable, that you are powerful, that you are in control of your destiny. The world may not notice your progress right away, but that's okay, because transformation begins within quietly until it becomes impossible to ignore. At the end of these 30 days, look back not with pride in perfection, but with pride in persistence. You showed up. You kept going. You chose growth when it would have been easier to quit. That choice alone separates you from the person you used to be. And remember, the end of these 30 days isn't really an end, it's a beginning. A beginning of a mindset that will carry you through every goal, every challenge, and every season ahead. So as you step forward, don't just hope for change, be the change. Act with purpose, speak with belief, move with intention. You have everything you need to rewrite your life. The next 30 days are your canvas, and your actions are the brush strokes. Paint boldly, live deliberately. And never forget, your future is being created right now in this moment by the choices you make today.